minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Broadcasting from the heart of the nation, the next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Oh, yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Welcome into it. It is your... What is today? Oh, that's right. It's a Wednesday, middle of the week on the program. Great to have you here. It is also tax day. Greatest, well, not for us. Greatest day for Democrats. It would be the greatest holiday for them. We like 4th of July. We like St. Patrick's Day. We like Christmas and New Year's. They like tax day. This is where the government gets to rake in all of that revenue and talk about how they spend even more than what they do when they tax the heck out of us day in and day out. We'll get to that here in just a minute. First and foremost, as usual, welcome into the program. Great to have you here broadcasting out of the heart of the nation in Wichita, Kansas on our flagship station. But we are all over the country on so many radio affiliates doing our thing.
Do it live!
Like we do. Oh, hey, it worked here on the program each and every day. Sorry, we're having some computer glitches today, and we were talking with the network, making sure everything's going down properly, but we're having some technical issues on this side, so hopefully it does not stifle what we're trying to do here, but our sound effect is working, at least that one.
Do it live!
It continues to work on the program, and we'll have some fun. All right, if you want to find more information, find us on our website, HooserReason.com. Bottom of the hour, Drew Thomas Allen will be on the program, the Drew Allen Show podcast, and author of numerous different books. We'll talk about the state of affairs going on in Washington, D.C. Lots to cover for sure. The ongoing, still semi-government shutdown, that's kind of crazy. Plus the SAVE Act, where apparently John Thune just doesn't want to go anywhere with it. So we'll cover all that and more at the bottom of the hour. But as we mentioned,
what's trending today?
Today is tax day, and we're going to see massive amounts of revenue coming in. Now, I'm getting conflicting reports. I've heard that we are seeing higher tax rebates and higher tax returns than what we normally see this time of year. There's a headline on NPR, however, saying that we're seeing less tax returns coming in this year. What is really true? And now that you've probably hopefully filed your taxes by now or got your extension, then what does your tax rate look like as we move forward under the new Trump administration, the one big beautiful bill that was passed last year, and the different tax breaks that we're getting to expect this year? That's what we're going to go to with our guest on the program today.
Let's go to the Hoosier Media Hotline.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have on the program. She's a former Fox Business Network reporter and anchor, also author of her book, which I love, and I wish I would have seen this because I have this same motto: deduct everything. Hundreds of tax tips, legal write-offs, credits, and loopholes. Really happy to have on the program Tracy Burns. Tracy, how are you, my friend?
Hey,
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate you jumping on the program. I love the idea of deducting absolutely everything. But before we talk about that and what we can do for tax season, if you are filing taxes or if you have not yet done so, which you probably get on that relatively soon. But are you here? What are you hearing when it comes to tax returns and tax rebates this year? I've heard conflicting reports. Either people's tax returns are higher, or according to NPR, they're not as high. What have you heard on your end?
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm feeling mixed results as well. I don't see the big refunds that they were anticipating yet, and I'm not entirely sure why that is. What I am seeing, too, is a little bit of people being so confused that they're just not doing it, and that's pretty terrible. So I think we've created a little confusion with this One Big Beautiful Bill Act, and I think at this point we're not seeing the anticipated increased revenue that at least those of us who are in the stock market every day were hoping to.
That's interesting. Now, I know, obviously, some of the taxes that take effect this year for January of 2026 with the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, I know that that's taken effect and a lot of people are enjoying those, but that was not part of the write-off or when we file taxes for 2025, correct?
No, so you should report all that. So those still, I think that's been one of the headlines in the media that's been really misleading. Oh. Please report all your tips, all your overtime. Get it on that tax return. Tips are not tax-free. Overtime is not tax-free.
Yeah.
People need to report this stuff.
Yeah.
Really important.
Absolutely. Still got to report some of that stuff. For this year, as we are filing the taxes, if people are still doing it last minute, or if they're like, hey, I probably should have done that by now, what can we write off? Because I'm with you. I mean, the wife and I, we file our taxes. We have our own small business. We do our thing. And to me, I'm like, hey, if we're going to do this, we're going to write every single possible thing I can off of my taxes to pay as little as possible. What are some of the things that you recommend individuals as they are going through that process to write off as legal write-offs, credits, loopholes? What can we expect when we're trying to go through this process?
Yeah, so I really think you have to take your time and think about the things that you own or are involved in. And that way, when you show up at a preparer, God willing, you did already, or if you extended, you are armed and dangerous with some good questions. For instance, charity. Did you make charitable contributions this year? Even though you might not itemize, you still could deduct up to $2,000. So if you made charitable contributions, but you think you're going to qualify for the standard, please let your preparer know where you made donations to. If you have a small business, don't forget about all the little things. Don't forget about health insurance premiums, and document everything. Your marketing costs, your advertising costs, right? You bought new technology. The beauty, a lot of stuff you can expense immediately now, which is really great for small businesses.
Yeah.
The qualified small business stock is better and improved. That's based for companies that are going out and trying to raise money, trying to raise capital. Now you can offer qualified small business stock. It's been around, but they made it so much better and so much more attractive to the investor who says, now I have qualified small business stock, and if I meet X rules, I might be able to avoid paying capital gains on the growth of this company. So there's really great nuggets in there, but go to your preparer, say, oh, I have a small business, or I bought a new car. I bought a car in America, a brand new car that was assembled in America, and I took out a loan. Do I qualify for that $10,000 interest deduction? Ask the questions. If you're not doing your return yourself, make sure you just have a list of questions for your preparer to say, do I qualify for it?
Yeah, it's a really great point. One thing that my wife gets mad at me for is that apparently, because I drive so much for work and all the contracting stuff, is that we don't write down, or I don't have a log in my car for the mileage, which I know I'm supposed to, but that annoys the crap out of me. But at the same time, I don't want an app tracking me everywhere I go either. But that is a big write-off that you can actually use and utilize, right?
100%. And I agree with you on the scary app part, but it's very helpful if you let it do what it's supposed to do. Yeah. I know. I mean, and we're tracking 5,000 other ways anyway. So.
That is very true. What's another reason? Why the heck not? That's very true, for sure. The environment for small business in general, and obviously there's a lot of uncertainty right now, the conflict in Iran, gas prices, things that are going on. But since the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill, the attempt to kind of reform the way the economy functions under a Trump administration, have you seen it become a bit more favorable for small businesses and people wanting to take that leap and become a small business owner?
So I think that, first of all, we know entrepreneurship is up for women. They've had it with fighting the corporate climb. So they're just going out to do it on themselves, by themselves, which I think is amazing. As far as the stuff in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, I don't think we're seeing the effects yet because, like I said, I don't think people understand it. I know 2 different accountants that actually closed the doors and said, we're done because they keep changing the rules on us. So I think once it settles in, people will realize that there's some great stuff in there for small business to encourage investment in small business and to encourage people to go out and give it a shot. And so I think the more people start to learn about this and hear about the good things that are available to them, like the ability to write things off immediately as opposed to depreciating over a long period of time. Now you get the full expense, which is great. Like, that's super helpful, and that encourages people to go buy equipment and buy new computers, and it encourages this entrepreneurialism. So I don't think we're feeling the effects of it yet.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Since COVID, over the past 5 or 6 years or so, I know a lot of people, obviously, with the stay-at-home mentality, work remotely. Have you seen from there as well the idea of people of, hey, I'm going to go from maybe working the 9 to 5 with the clock in, clock out to I'm going to become now a contract worker. I'm going to do things on my own. I'm going to start a sole proprietorship. Have you seen that kind of trend going on across the nation that may be beneficial for small business?
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of people after COVID are choosing quality of life. And the younger generation especially does not want to do what I'm old enough to say what I did because, I mean, those 14, 15-hour days, they're just not into it. And so a lot of people are saying, how can I make this go on my own, on my terms, under my circumstances? And again, I think that's what America runs on. It's entrepreneurialism. So I do love that they're giving it a shot.
I love that. We're talking with Tracy Burns, author of the book, Deduct Everything, hundreds of tax tips, legal write-offs, credits, and loopholes for tax day today, for sure. Not to give any advice on the stock market, obviously, for investments one way or the other, but because of the uncertainty, the rocky road that we've seen on the stock market, even especially the past month or so because of the conflict in Iran, technology has been a major focal point. Artificial intelligence, data centers, the energy usage. Is that where a lot of people should be paying a lot of attention on what the heck's going to happen moving forward?
Look, I think that stuff has carried the market up and it brought the market down, right? So those are definitely players that we have to keep paying attention to. The Amazons, the Nvidias, the Metas, the Apples. What are they doing? Are they... And I think the investment community now is starting to say, you put all this money into research and AI and all the things. Where's the big bang for the buck? When do we start to see our returns on this? So there's a little bit of that going on. But I also think that they brought us down, they'll bring us back up. We're in earnings week right now, so the banks are reporting they're doing really well thus far. So that's really great. That means people are borrowing and paying their loans off and things like that. Like, that's all a good sign for the economy. Get the technology earnings coming up next, and God willing, they're good too. You know, if it were not for this geopolitical stuff, I think we would be in a pretty decent economic place right now. The underlying economy is doing all right. The consumer, man, the consumer is, complaining and moaning about gas prices and all the things, but they're still getting in the car, they're still getting on the planes, and they're still doing all the things, even though a steak is $100 in South Florida these days, or New York City's charging $140 for it. People are paying it.
Yeah.
Complaining about it, but they're paying it, right? So as long as that keeps going, I think, presuming we could truly cease fire out in with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, I think we could really see a really great back half of the year.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we're still spending and if we're still confident in our spending right now, even with the high prices, when it does come back down, then, I mean, it's going to blow up, which is crazy to me because then we have these quote-unquote financial experts that are out there saying that by summertime we're going to hit a recession under the Trump administration. And I don't see that happening.
I don't either, especially because you and I both know when they start charging $150, $140 for that porterhouse for two, they're not bringing that price back down, even if things get better, right?
Yeah.
So we're still paying it, so we're still going out there. So maybe now that restaurant's starting to make a little more money off of us. So I'm with you. I don't see how this can revert so poorly and create a recession, especially because if oil prices come back down and they get gas below $4 again, then I think people are really happy after that. You know, gas and groceries are the first thing people see. And if you can get those prices in line, you have a very happy consumer.
Yeah, that's very true.
So I think that's right. That's all we need to do. It's really that simple.
It's really that simple. Tracy, last question for you. We got just about a minute left here, but I always ask every financial expert the hopeful, wishful thinking that I have. Any opportunity that we can do major reforms or completely just dismantle the IRS and get rid of all these crazy taxes?
So back in my media days, my soapbox was to junk the book. The tax code is a book of favors right now. I am with you. This is my personal opinion. It should be junked. There's something to be said about that flat tax, whatever tax you want to call it.
That's it.
Maybe we start over. It's gotten too confusing, too unfair. You have to have a very high-powered tax planner to get through all the opportunities, and that's not cool.
It's a work in progress. Tracy, we appreciate the time very much, my friend. Thanks for coming on. Got to get you back on and do it again soon.
Anytime. Thank you.
You bet. Appreciate it very much, Tracy Burns. Deduct Everything. It's a book. Go and check it out on Amazon, other places as well. Lots more coming up. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When America builds, the world follows. Our energy powered the 20th century. We've set the standard for generations, and we never waited for permission. But now, we're being held back. Outdated rules, endless delays. Without permitting reform, Washington's red tape is slowing us down while other nations race ahead. It doesn't have to be this way. We can clear the way for energy that's affordable, reliable, and built right here. Because what's built here is felt here. Lower costs, more jobs, stronger communities. That's what permitting reform makes possible. Energy didn't just shape our country, it powered the American dream. And with our innovation, we can lead the 21st century. Congress has a choice. Build America's energy future or risk falling behind. Tell Congress, pass permitting reform now.
Hey, did you know that you can have multiple different networks on one single smartphone? Well, with Patriot Mobile, you can. It's time for you to sign up for the Patriot Mobile primary phone plan with plans as low as $15 a month, where you can have 2 numbers and 2 networks on one single phone. And right now, if you sign up using the promo code REASON, you can get an entire month absolutely free. It's the Patriot Mobile One plan. 1 phone, 2 numbers, and 2 networks. And it's all at patriotmobile.com/reason. Again, patriotmobile.com, and use the promo code REASON. As you know, I'm always looking for a good snack, but it's hard to find good quality snacks without all the unhealthy additives. But now that problem is over. It's time to enjoy J&S Smoked Snacks. Real cuts of beef, real wood smoke, and real flavor that's crafted in small batches to keep every bag fresh. I promise you'll be addicted. And with numerous different flavors, you'll never get enough. This is not your average gas station jerky. It's J&S Smoked Snacks. Find them online at jssmokedsnacks.com and tell them I sent you.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? How did 2 guys in a cramped California garage reimagine the phone and put the power of the universe at our fingertips? At Americans for Prosperity, we believe greatness can happen anywhere. We just need freedom and the opportunity to make it real. But today, with a rigid system stifling progress, limiting creativity, and holding us back. That's why at AFP, we offer solutions that tackle the most critical challenges facing our country, so there's nothing standing in the way of America's next breakthrough. Because what we build today doesn't just shape the future, it defines it. How will you be defined? Take your first step today with Americans for Prosperity.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
When reason meets radio. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
Yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Welcome back into it. Great to have you today for a midweek celebration. I know not all of them are working, but is this working?
It is Wednesday, my dude.
Oh, there we go. It is Wednesday, my dude. So great to have you here as we move through. Thanks again to Tracy Burns coming on the program, talking about tax day, the happiest day for Democrats. Oh, look at that money roll into the federal government. You got to file your taxes. And here's the crazy part. You have to guess how much you have to pay in, and then you have to pay someone to file your taxes for you if it's too complicated to do it. And then if you get it wrong, we're going to come after you, right? Yeah. It's a crazy setup to even think that that's a concept that we have. You have to guess the amount of money that you pay into the government and even pay someone to do it for you to understand the rules to try and do it the best that we can possibly think of and guesstimate. And then if you pay too much, yeah, I guess we'll give you a little bit back. If you don't pay enough, we are coming to set you straight and take that money. And oh, by the way, we're also going to do random audits and just make sure you're doing it right so that way you didn't miss on paying on any money to the government that you possibly could. That's the world Democrats live in because they love big government coming in and controlling your life on a regular basis. Speaking of government, by the way, I want to tell you about my friends over at Americans for Prosperity. They're trying to get government to try and do reforms when it comes to health care. I know that we haven't seen any bills right now. The Trump administration back in January, whenever it was, came out with his, what was it, Big Beautiful Healthcare Plan or the Wonderful Healthcare Plan or whatever he called it, and it's time for Congress to actually act on it, giving us more options on healthcare across the nation. Better healthcare options for yourself, for your household, for your business, whatever it may be. And you, by the way, can write off on your taxes as well. But we need to do some major reforms. Get rid of Obamacare and focus on more private options across the nation. That's what our friends over at Americans for Prosperity is doing, and I want you to go to a website, personaloption.com. Personaloption.com. Sign up. It's completely free. You can see the bullet points and what we need to work on to try and focus on healthcare option reforms and work with Congress and put pressure on our elected officials to make sure it's done right at personaloption.com. Again, personaloption.com with our friends over at Americans for Prosperity. There we go. All right. Shifting gears here just for a moment. There was an event yesterday, and you want to talk about eating our own and enjoying eating ourselves alive. There was a Turning Point USA event in, I believe, Georgia yesterday, and the Vice President of the United States showed up. Would be kind of cool to see the Vice President talk about particular issues. Erica Kirk, also the widow of Charlie Kirk and the head of Turning Point USA, was also supposed to show up until she had to cancel due to what the official statement from Turning Point USA has been was a death threat to Erica Kirk. Now, some people are critical of saying that why the vice president was able to show up and not Erica Kirk is kind of interesting. I find that somewhat interesting, but less interesting in the fact that I'm curious on who actually made the threat, if the threat is actually real. Because we have unfortunately, we have two different sides where this threat could be coming from. Either from the radical progressive left-wing Democrats who hate Turning Point USA and who hated Charlie Kirk and who hate J.D. Vance and who hate Donald Trump and who hate Erica Kirk, or it's people that are supposedly from our side that go into the radical wackadoodle conspiracy theories of someone like Candace Owens. And as I was scrolling through during the break, I even saw Candace Owens post her podcast from today, where you want to guess where the condescending headlines are and the remarks that she made on this is like, look at that, no one likes J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk anymore. And she thinks she has so much influence. The title of it is Shabbat Shalom, Mommy Stayed Home, making fun and poking fun of Erica Kirk. The condescending remarks are absolutely unbelievable. And for someone who claims to be conservative, whether you like Erica Kirk or not, to destroy a movement like Turning Point USA that you supposedly built with your friend Charlie Kirk back in the day, to destroy this and to not create as much activism from students because only about 5,000 people showed up at an event that could have turned out with 11,000 plus people to this event in college. To have such a low turnout means that you're sabotaging an organization of youth activism, and I find a problem with that.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Miss any part of the show? Well, don't worry. Now's your chance to go find the podcast and listen to as much of the Voice of Reason as you'd like. As the show continues to grow all across the nation with great radio affiliates, we also continue to grow as one of the top conservative podcasts, ranked 5th on the MillionPodcast.com Best 50 Conservative Leadership Podcasts in the nation, and number 1 on FeedSpot.com's 30 Best Conservative Talk Shows in the country. The show continues to grow each and every day. Just find us on any of your favorite podcasting sites at The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
truth, reason, and common sense. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
All right, welcome back into the program. Great to have you here today for a Wednesday. It is your middle of the week. It is a what?
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes, and it's so great to have you here as we continue on. I am so excited. It's nice and spring outside, and it's sunny, and it helped kind of calm me down. I was getting close. Thank God for a break in that last segment because I was getting a little fired up. As we saw yesterday, the Turning Point USA event, the vice president of the United States goes to an event. Erica Kirk was supposed to be there, ended up canceling because she said there was some kind of threat. And we have to ask the question, what side of the aisle was the threat coming from? Was it from the left side of the aisle that hates Donald Trump, that hates J.D. Vance, that hates Turning Point USA, that hates Charlie Kirk, that hates Erica Kirk? Or we got to ask the question, does it come from one of the radical crazies out there that believe Candace Owens, that thinks that Erica Kirk is some kind of underground agent that wanted to corrupt Charlie and take him to another level and eliminated him because he didn't do her bidding, which is kind of strange for someone who claims to be BFF or formerly BFF with someone like Charlie Kirk. And, Charlie was, I guess, great on everything and knew the world and was able to argue with anybody and had a great sense of reality around him, except for when it came to falling for an agent who wanted to take advantage of him. Like, is that what we're saying here? And you got to ask that question. And then the anti-Semitic, condescending garbage that we hear from Candace. Her episode headline today, Shabbat Shalom, Mommy Stayed Home, going after Erica Kirk and still coming out with all of this garbage about her. To me, I don't get it. If you're a conservative wanting to advance conservative principles, and especially something like Turning Point USA, where their entire purpose, what is the role? What is the mission of the organization? Oh, yeah, that's to engage the young voters, engage college voters, get them to think differently. She wants to see that crumble and think that's somehow positive for the movement by destroying and making that organization collapse. I smell a little bit of bitterness on there. Let's go to our next guest on the program, shall we?
Let's go to the Hooser Media Hotline.
Maybe he can put it into perspective for me because other than me, it just seems really, really stupid. But happy to have on the program host of the Drew Allen Show podcast and author of numerous different books, including his latest, Clinton Hoax, Obama Coup. Good to have back on the program, Mr. Drew Allen. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Hey, good to be with you. Good to be with you. I have not heard Candace Owens blame the Jews yet for Erica Kirk's, cancellation. I don't know how they would be involved, but this is a pathologically sick and disturbed, mentally ill woman who that's actually best case. Best case scenario is she's mentally ill. Worst case scenario, she's just demonic and evil. She's got one of the biggest platforms out there, right? And she spins as a mother of, I think, 3 or 4 children, a married woman who does a podcast of all the things to talk about. She just cannot help herself but attack a widow, a woman who lost her husband, in a very public assassination. She just has to attack her for anything and everything she does. And I would point out the hypocrisy because Candace Owens made up a number of excuses when Andrew Kovitz, who was the executive producer of the Charlie Kirk Show, who now does the show with Blake Neff. They do the show together now. They invited Candace Owens on their show a long time ago to, kind of duke it out.
That's right.
And she couldn't go, and I think she cited some security reasons.
Crazy how that happens. Or, the kids and can't be away from the children or whatever else she tries to make, which is an excuse. What happened to her? I've never been a big fan anyways. I mean, she had some conservative principles before. She worked with Turning Point USA, but she's always been kind of the drama-y, National Enquirer type of content that just I don't get. I don't like that. I'm more of a policy and theoretical and philosophy kind of guy. And she wasn't that at all, but What do you think happened? Do you think it was the death of Charlie Kirk that made her go a little bit crazy? Was she jealous of Erica Kirk for Charlie not choosing her? I mean, what was the deal here, do you think?
Well, I've seen some photos out there of Candace, and it looks like she might be a lesbian. I mean, I'm just saying she's kissing these girls and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know if she's upset because, she's jealous because Erica didn't pick her or Charlie didn't pick her. But in any case, Candace Owens is a pure megalomaniac and opportunist. She was never a conservative. That just happened to be where she found opportunity. Look, I'm just going to be plain and say it straight like a Rush Limbaugh, whatever. She was a black woman, is a black woman, and there was a big, look, you know how we are on the right, we not being really me or you, but I get so sick of it. It's like, anybody that might be on the left or hip or black or this, sometimes we're like, oh, yeah. Like, hoorah, we've got one, these people on our side, and it really irritates me. But Candace Owens saw an opportunity as like a black woman to be, we would prop her up. So she got propped up because she was a black conservative saying conservative things, and she had been an Obama person before. And that's the only reason. I mean, she found opportunity with TPUSA. Charlie Kirk saw her. She was talented, and he gave her opportunity. And so at some point, though, she was not able to maintain that facade at, Daily Wire, right? I mean, she is an anti-Semite. She always has been, because that became clear. That was one of the issues at Daily Wire.
Yeah.
And so now she's out on her own. They kicked her out on our keister. And I think that she's got grievances. I think she's a mean, nasty person. She's unfulfilled, right? And so she cares only about herself. And so now she's just riding this wave because it gets her attention.
It's very strange. Are you concerned, Drew, about the quote-unquote MAGA movement, the state of the Republican Party? Look, if we have someone like Candace, who unfortunately does have a very big following right now and is going after Erica Kirk and is trying to essentially bring down Turning Point USA, when we had the vice president of the United States show up to an event that could fill up to 11,000 people, less than 5,000 people show up to this thing, and, not a lot of kids being engaged anymore because her purpose is let's bring down the entire system. We have that. We have Tucker Carlson, that I don't even know what happened with Tucker Carlson, and I used to be a really big fan of his. I haven't listened to him in a while. Megyn Kelly, Alex Jones, who politically I probably agree with the majority of Alex Jones and what he says. Just how he portrays it with his radio persona, I don't necessarily click with. But if we did a litmus test on what we agree with politically, I'm sure we agree on the majority of issues. What happened to this movement, and are we seeing a tear within the Republican Party right now?
No, I'm not worried about it, because Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson's the only exception we can get into, but, Alex Jones, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, they were never MAGA. Okay. So I don't really care that they're, Alex Jones in particular, and, I'm having a little bit harsher take, than you, but, this is a guy who was fringe, kook. That's how he was viewed. Right.
Right.
And, he was never MAGA. He wasn't me. Even you, who may have liked things he said, agree. You would never have defined him as somebody ideologically, I think, the same as you are, as a principled conservative. He was on the fringe. And so, when they came around to support Trump, they weren't leading the movement, but we welcomed their support, obviously. So now they've decided to go back and stab Trump in the back and whatever else. And I don't care. I care, but I don't, because they were never MAGA to begin with. So it doesn't matter. Like the idea that we're positioning them as some kind of representation of you or me, or the people who've been fighting this fight for a long time with principle, it's ridiculous. We represent MAGA. They don't.
Yeah, it's a really great point. Yeah, and I think Alex Jones was more of a libertarian. He was on the, the libertarian fringe of, even limited more government and less government than what, we believe in as conservatives. So, there were some differences there. But you're right, they weren't necessarily MAGA. They jumped on board because Donald Trump, not being an ideologue, was more of a populist. A lot of people saw an opportunity to try and jump on board for their agenda under Donald Trump, and now they're starting to walk away from that. But that leads to another division that we're seeing now. Apparently, the battle between Trump and the Pope, the battle between Trump and the evangelicals, with the picture of him looking like Jesus healing somebody that apparently everybody's upset about. As a religious person myself and as a Christian myself, I don't get offended very easily. I'm not a Karen. I don't get, oh my gosh, it's so offensive. He's trying to portray himself. I don't, but a lot of people apparently are. Is this going to hurt the religious vote going into midterms?
No, I think we'll move on past it. Look, these things only hurt it if people dwell on it and don't have any perspective and push it. I'm a Christian, very devout, and it didn't bother me because, first off, Donald Trump has come out in the past and said he doesn't even think he's going to heaven. So the idea that he thinks he's Jesus Christ is obviously laughable anyway. I think that it was a mistake. But I don't have any kind of emotional. I can't believe it.
Was it really a mistake, though? Again, I don't really care. I don't get offended by these sort of things, and he does a very good job at trolling. He was having a battle with the Pope. He took it. Maybe that was a jab at the Pope for being somewhat religious. And honestly, we've talked about the comparison on this program. You have a guy like the Pope who's supposed to be, the conduit between the message of God and humanity, and then a guy that, obviously God has saved for a purpose and is working through him. him in some action that is probably one of the most abrasive guys out there. I find the irony in something like that.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it doesn't bother me, but I can understand how you could misread the room if you thought you were going to be interpreted as showing yourself as Jesus Christ. I just know the people out there that would have a problem with that. The Pope thing, I don't care about. Jesus takes it to another level. Not for me, not for you, but because the Pope is very specific to Catholicism specifically and only. So no other evangelical is going to care that he's making himself the Pope. But there's a possibility that people get upset. But he didn't even. Trump's not thinking, I don't think, in a lot of these situations like this. He's not like, this looks, I mean, it was just a funny thing. It wasn't even created by his own team, although it might have been modified a little bit. It was AI generated from like February. This is like the Lion, I've said this, it's like the Lion King thing. He made the Lion King video where he's king of the jungle and all these characters, including Joe Biden, are monkeys and the Obamas are also monkeys.
Yeah. Like
that came out a long time ago. And then when that little piece of the clip with Barack Obama as a monkey showed at the tail end of another video on YouTube by accident, it was, oh, he's so racist. This has been out there. This picture of him as quote-unquote Jesus has been out there for months. So, no, I don't care. Spare me.
Yeah, spare me. It's kind of crazy. We're talking with Drew Thomas Allen, Drew Allen Show podcast, also author of numerous books, Clinton Hoax, Obama Coup. Hang on the line. We got to take a break. When we come back, that was kind of our gossipy segment of the program, which I usually don't get into, but it's kind of a wild time that we live in. When we come back, I want to talk about policy, partial government shutdown, DHS funding, the SAVE Act, and what the heck's going on with Congress back in action this week. We'll do some of that with Drew when we come back around the corner for your Wednesday here on the program. Stay tuned.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left finds new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back. And that's where we can help. Head to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can find our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Let us know your thoughts on current events with different surveys and chat rooms. And keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Plus, when you head to the website, you can always get great deals and different offers from all of our great radio partners. Finally, if you want more of the show, you can find our podcasts with all of our great episodes and your favorite guests. And make sure to check out the latest Voice of Reason infomercials and maybe some other special content. And it's all because of you being part of the Hoosier-holic family. Let's continue to fight for conservative common sense principles together by going to HooserReason.com. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. There are 2 ingredients.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? Our country's greatest breakthroughs were born from bold ideas and the ability to take one small step forward. At Americans for Prosperity, freedom and opportunity find their defenders. Because our country's next giant leap is just around the corner. Are you ready to step up?
Hey, the live show may be almost over today, but it doesn't have to be for you. As always, enjoy the Voice of Reason with our daily podcast by finding the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser on any of your favorite podcasting sites. Just find us, subscribe, have it automatically downloaded, and listen at your convenience whenever you want to bring some more reason into your day. And a lot of people are doing it. Also, you can always find the video of the show, along with articles, additional commentary, and maybe a few sarcastic remarks by following us on our social media. Stay up to date with everything going on with the show, including upcoming guests, breaking news stories, interesting articles, and maybe some memes. Help us in the ongoing battle with censorship and shadow banning from social media by following us on the social media at Hooser Reason on all of our social media sites. For all these social media links, podcast links, contact information, or just general information of the show, go to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can listen live every day, read our latest monthly blog, find our radio affiliate list, or even listen to our latest infomercials and special content. Plus, you can always reach out to the program by sending me a message on social media, emailing us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or sending an email through our website at HooserReason.com. Whether it's content on the show, whether it's a guest that you've liked or disliked, or whether you want to disagree with me, and disagreement's always appreciated. While you're there, make sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. Each month, you'll get the latest update on the show, updates from the Hooser Media Network, and our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Finally, if you want to help support the show, become a member of our Patreon site and help us fight for the cause of truth, reason, and common sense every day, and get more of the same by becoming the ultimate Hoosierholic. Get additional interviews that sometimes we don't always get to air on the radio. Hear our special segments or even our infomercials before anyone else, and have a chance to chat with other great Hoosierholics from all over. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, you're not only helping the fight for conservative values, you're helping us get more content and information out through the Hooser Media Network. Find out more information online at HooserReason.com. Lastly, follow and support all of our partners with the show. The Voice of Reason has been growing more and more every year, and it's because of so many great partners helping us get the message out to you. From show partners to local radio affiliates in your area to streaming sites, podcasting sites, and more, we have so many supporters and listeners now than ever before, and we want to thank you. It's time to bring back common sense, and we do it right here every day with the Voice of Reason.
America's safe space for common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, it is. Welcome back into it. Trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time. It's always great to have you here, especially for a Wednesday, middle of the week. You see the light at the end of the tunnel. Interesting conversation we're having today. We went a little bit more on the gossipy National Enquirer side of things, but you know what? Unfortunately, there is a culture in politics right now that is trying to divide, or at least assume like and pretend like and appeal like they are tearing apart the MAGA movement. Whether that's actually happening or not, time will tell, especially for the midterm elections coming up later on this year. We're hanging out with Drew Allen, author of the book Clinton Hoax Obama Coup. You can find all of his books on Amazon and other places, also the Drew Allen Show podcast. Let's talk about some policy here, Drew. Now that Congress is back in action this week, we hear really the same rhetoric that we had when we left. We still have partial government shutdown with DHS. We still have the Senate not passing the SAVE Act. Doesn't seem like we're moving forward with a whole lot right now, are we?
No, they're such garbage. They don't want to do anything before midterms, it appears. They just want to sit here and coast. Coast to losing is what they're doing for themselves. You know, there was a poll done of 1,000 people, McLaughlin poll, I believe it was. They interviewed voters in 3 or 4 states, and 1 in 8 Republican voters said they will sit out midterms if they don't pass the SAVE Act.
That's going to hurt
Another
us.
12% said they might do the same.
Yeah,
so
that's going to hurt us. We need these. And look, we've been saying for a while, Congress needs to codify the Trump administration's agenda. I mean, we've had, 300-400 different executive orders signed by Trump, not by an auto pen, but signed by Trump to try and get us on the right track. They're only temporary. They're only going to last as long as a Republican is in the presidency to not repeal a lot of this stuff. If Congress is going to try and win re-election, we have to start just stamping of approval and codifying all this agenda.
Yeah, it's a little discouraging because, we have both chambers. And I understand, look, Newt Gingrich told me when I interviewed him a couple of months ago that, Mike Johnson actually deserves quite a bit of credit because unlike Newt, when he was in there as Speaker, he had a lot of room to work with, right? He could lose a lot of Republicans and still get stuff done.
Sure.
We've got a razor-thin majority in the House. So he thought Mike Johnson had done a pretty decent job. But I think, then you've got the Senate. I mean, rhinos are a problem in both chambers. But the Senate is just unbelievable. I mean, the reality is we can't get anything done. because, we don't have a filibuster-proof majority.
Yeah.
And so the only way to get something done is to go back to the standing talking filibuster, and then it won't matter. And then we can pass everything we want.
Why haven't we done that?
So
why haven't we done that?
Because they hate you. That's why. No, really. I mean, it's because they hate you. I mean, I can give you their reasons. The reasons are, they're all lies. Well, we don't want to take that step because what if the Democrats do it? Okay, first off, the standing talking filibuster is the norm. That's what it used to be, and it makes sense.
Right.
Now you have the whatever they call it, the zombie filibuster, where you don't do anything. You just you know they don't have 60 votes, and so you don't even have to talk.
Right.
There's no debate whatsoever. So that's tradition. They should go back to that. And then we could get stuff done. So they can say whatever they want. The point is they're excuses that aren't grounded in reality. So they just don't want to pass the SAVE Act, which tells you they don't want to secure elections, which means they're basically Democrats.
Yeah. Well, I think that even more so on that focal point, I think John Thune doesn't want to pass the SAVE Act, which leads me to the last question in the minute or so we have left. Is it time to try and remove John Thune as the Senate Majority Leader and try somebody different? And if so, who could realistically actually become Senate Majority Leader?
Well, that's the problem. The problem isn't just Thune, and Thune is a problem, by the way, but it's that, like, you have McConnell, and you have, what's-her-face from Alaska,
Lisa Murkowski and Susan
anyway,
Collins,
Yeah, Murkowski. Yeah, Susan Collins. You got these people. And so, they're not willing to, help. They're not willing to, like, for the standing filibuster, talking filibuster, you just need 51 senators to stay strong.
Right.
And so we don't even have 51 senators out of 53 who are willing to do the will of the people, is my point. So it's not just him, although he's part of the problem. It's 3 or 4.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, Rand Paul votes the wrong way on many issues as well, for different reasons, obviously, than the Democrats, but he still doesn't vote on the ways that we need him to get things done. I think he would vote on this one, but that's a whole other issue. Drew, it's crazy. It's frustrating, but we got to keep the pressure on them. We got to make this happen because we cannot give up, or else we're going to see a lot of ridiculousness next year after the midterm elections. Always good to talk to you, brother. Have fun. Let's get you back on and do it again soon.
Thank you. Can't wait. Thanks, brother.
Heck yeah. Always a pleasure. Drew Allen, go check out all his books. Clinton Hoax Obama Coup. Also his Charlie Cookbook for Christ and Country, America's Last Stand, and so many other books that he has. Find all of them on Amazon. Also his Drew Allen Show podcast. We are back at it tomorrow for a pre-Friday celebration. We have plenty more to cover and get to, with maybe a little bit more action in Washington, D.C. We'll have to see. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Be that catalyst for change. It's the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you on the radio soon. Bye.
For too long, Washington has said no to builders, workers, and American families.